name is Scott Sweeney, and I'm here to persuade you that in most situations, choosing a home birth is a safe alternative over a hospital birth for the mother and for the child. Ina May Gaskin once said, generally speaking, the more confidence and comfortable a woman is in her body, the more easily she is able to give birth. Over the next couple of minutes, I will explain to you the history of natural childbirth, who is a good candidate for home birth, and how medical intervention has done more harm than good due to the interference that doctors use in the hospital. Also, I'll explain a midwifery group called the Farm that is here in Tennessee that has produced within over 30 years 2,028 births. The process of natural birth has been effective since the beginning of time, starting with Lucy, one of the first women found over 3.6 million years ago. Beside her was a little child, which explains to us that natural birth was done by herself since the beginning of time. Also, in 1716, the first New York midwife license was given out. They had a 95% success rate. There were no doctors around. No one needed doctors. In 1828, the obstetrician was first formed. It was an actual word, and ironically, it did not mean to interfere. It meant to stand beside or to observe. It did not mean to interfere. It was just to witness the actual birth in case something happened to interfere. In 1930, the U.S. Board of Obstetricians and Gynecologists was first formed. Not until this time did the complications with pregnancy and unnecessary actions begin to take place. Over the last 80 years, that is when initially the problems with childbirth and everything began to appear because human interference began. As stated in my proposition, not all women are good candidates for a home birth. They have to envision to have an active birth. They have to want it themselves. They don't need intervention. They want to do it themselves and do it the natural way, the way God intended it. They also have to be willingly to take pain and to also deal with labor, the long endurance of labor, and have the stamina to go through with it. Also, they have to be within 30 minutes of a hospital. In case there is an actual complication, you want to be able to go to an actual obstetrician and be able to perform what is necessary and to actually interfere if it is necessary. Some of the setbacks that may prevent you from having home birth is diabetes or such a prenatal problem such as preeclampsia or gestational diabetes, something of that nature. You may not be able to have a home birth. In the past 80 years, the national childbirth has decreased. The national childbirth health has decreased due to medical intervention. Hinsey Goer once said, compared with vaginal birth, cesarean section carries substantially increased risk of death and permanent injury. It also takes a physical and emotional toll, and it casts a shadow on the rest of the woman's reproductive life. Right now, as I'm speaking, cesarean rates are at 32.6% in the United States. In 1970, cesarean rates were at 5%. It doubled in 1983 to 10%, and then in 1990 it was 15%, and now it is at 32.6%. The World Health Organization states that a C-section rate for any given country should be around 10%, due to any other complications or things of that nature. It is not for convenience. It is for emergency only. You know, God made you to have birth. You know, He didn't make you be cut open and to have the baby child removed from you. Hospitals interfere due to a protocol. They treat you as a number. They start off when you get to the hospital. If you're not progressing right, they induce you. They use Pitocin, and then they put you on a clock. If you do not progress properly, they perform an epidural. Well, an epidural gets rid of your pain. So what does that do? That increases regresses the amount that you have taken forward. So once again, they put you through Pitocin, which induces labor more, strengthening, hardening the labor, increases the baby's heart rate, which causes due stress on the child and the mother, which results in emergency C-section. So it's a hospital protocol. It's a stage that they take. You know, it's a process to get them to the easier way and also the more monetary gains. One of the most reputable midwifery groups resides in Tennessee. It is called the Farm. It was established in 1970 with families that survived on the basic necessities of life and learned to be midwives delivering babies. From 1970 to 2000, they delivered over 2,000. To be exact, it was 2,028 children. Only 1.4% resulted in an emergency C-section out of 2,000 children. There were 15 twins, all born vaginally, which is very unheard of today since most doctors won't even attempt to do a vaginal birth on twins. They would rather do a C-section. There were 106 vaginal births after cesareans out of 108. The other two resulted in a C-section. And also during this time of 30 years, to prove that it's not safe, that it's not unsafe from others, there were no maternal deaths within 30 years. It was not necessary to have an OB come in and monitor her and make sure that she is okay. As my research proves, natural birth is not attainted by a hospital. They treat you as a number, and they treat you disrespectfully as it is not a natural process of God. Diana Corte once said, if you do not know your choices, if you do not know your options, you do not have any. Personally, speaking from personal experiences, doctors will rush you through your process to gain money. And that is their exact goal in life. If you do not know your choices, you will not know anything. Thank you.